Hey everyone, this is Matt Para, Sabbath School Director for the North New South Wales Conference. I'm here this Sabbath in Taree Church with my friend John, and he is the newly appointed Sabbath School leader for the Taree Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I just have a few questions for him. John, would you like to introduce yourself to the rest of the Sabbath School leader family?
Hi, I'm John Minett, the Sabbath School Superintendent at the Taree Church. I started this role. I was nominated in the last week of June to start at the first week in July.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty, it just happened quickly.
It happened very quickly because there was a movement and change in personnel. So it was a very rapid appointment.
Wow, brother. So what, why did you accept the role as Sabbath School leader here in Taree?
I think Sabbath School is one of the things as a church we forget the power in small group ministry.
Yes,
having smaller Sabbath school classes where we can minister to newly coming people as well. And I think we go through the routines of having church, but we often forget about the small group ministry and the power it has with groups of people.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I feel that Sabbath school it's very organic. In that it just allows this, and I know it's structured and we have our class and we have our lessons, but it seems like it gives a group of people the freedom to let God kind of lead and discuss, and you can go in lots of different directions. I appreciate what you're saying there. What is the most rewarding part of Sabbath school ministry at this time? I know you've only been the leader for a short time, but what's the most rewarding thing for you so far?
I guess the thing that I enjoy is actually being a part and being a Sabbath school teacher. And to have involvement from people organically in the class and just sharing what God has done for them and being personal with them and having that small group ministry, as I alluded to earlier, where we can check in with each other if someone's away and go, and that there has been something that I've enjoyed, just being able to lead out in a small group and teach.
Have you had any situations since you've been a Sabbath school teacher that were challenging for you, like in a Sabbath school class, like any situation where you're like, what do I do here? Maybe an argument or an awkward situation. Have you ever had a situation like that?
Look, there's often always differing opinions at times as a facilitator. I think the word teacher, it's about facilitating a discussion, and I need to be clear that it's facilitating the members there to have input. I think it's about how you tackle the situation. You can agree to disagree, but it's in the spirit it's done. Yeah. And also showing, what does the Bible say about this? Let's look into this. And sometimes it's not the place for it. It could be, well, what about we have a conversation about that later, or I'm happy to go home and do some homework.
That's good.
And come back to that, next week and have a conversation with you on that.
Very diplomatic. That's diplomatic. Right. What do you think is your strongest gift what are your strengths?
As a Sabbath school leader?
Just like what do you bring to Sabbath school ministry? Now, I know that's a weird question because we don't like to talk about ourselves. And it just came to my head. I didn't prepare, obviously, to ask you that question. But, just being totally honest, you don't have to worry about sounding proudful or whatever. But what do you think you bring to Sabbath school leadership?
With my own profession and what I do as a day job as a school teacher and administrator in Adventist schools, the organisation aspect. Okay. Making sure the cogs turn
in the machinery.
On the machinery, as making sure lessons are working for the Sabbath school. The children's divisions, making sure there's, that is working. Yep. And because if it's broken, it's not going to work for our ministry to the young children, to the youth, and to the rest of the church.
Totally. Okay, so what's your greatest challenge so far? Or what can you see is going to be your greatest challenge to the visions that God has given you and the way that you want to lead this program in Taree?
I think one of the challenges I see down the track is when we get an influx of people, what can we do to minister to those people? For example, sometimes to come in on a Revelation Sabbath school lesson would not be right for them at the moment. Yeah. So one of the challenges would be, what can we devise for these newly the new people that are coming along to Sabbath school for the first time, people that have no exposure to Adventism or Christianity at all, that are just coming to the church and wanting to be fed. Yeah. And that I see as an area to look at in the future, what we can do for those folk that are coming in.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, that's such an insightful thing that you say, because somewhat indicates that it would be great to have members of our church that were more aware of how, I don't know, how they maybe more informed about how they should function around unbelievers, right? Like somebody who comes into your Sabbath school class. Because if you could almost be studying any topic, if you had a very savvy and almost evangelistically aware group of people who knew how to frame their comments in a way that's going to, make sense to the people who've come in. And you can never know where someone's from, but you can be sensitive, to that. Yes. Could you share some words of encouragement with the rest of the Sabbath school leaders out there? Because sometimes they feel like Elijah. I'm the last one standing. I'm the only one left, even though it's not true. But you can feel that way, and you can sometimes be overwhelmed by the challenges of ministry, getting people motivated to see. Sabbath school is one of those things that I see like that everyone, when they're going to Sabbath school class and when they're participating in the program, they're thinking, this is awesome. This is the best. I love Sabbath school ministry. But then when they're not coming, it's like, they're not coming, And it's like exercise. When you're doing it, you're like, oh, this is the best. I can't believe I wasn't exercising. But then it's kind of really challenging as a Sabbath school leader to motivate the larger church to realize the value of it. So what would you say to those Sabbath school leaders struggling, challenged? What's some inspiration and motivation?
There are a lot of challenges, and I think often people have good intentions, and there's always a lot of criticism, and the Sabbath school superintendent hears about it first. Okay. And often I understand that you have all the darts coming your way, or feedback, this wasn't done this way, or that way. But I think the encouragement, we need to encourage each other from the point of view that I believe, and the spirit of prophecy is clear, that Sabbath school ministry is an important work in part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I think we need to pray more. We need to pray more as leaders to ask God what his vision is, opposed to what my vision is. Secondly, I think the importance is getting full member involvement. So if it's with your local Sabbath school preliminaries, having other people involved in some way or form, shape or form. Just, you don't have to be a committee member to be involved. And this is a good place to train young people as well. It's not just for the older people, as some may say, but it's good to train the young youth, the teens, and keep the older ones involved. Those that don't have a position, as it were, but they just like to be involved and be included. And I think that's how you can get in part of this full member involvement within Sabbath school.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time on Sabbath School Shoutout.